Shannon Sharpe, Club Shay Shay, Unk. He's all over everywhere, man. Shout out to him. Shannon Sharpe is a cultural phenomenon right now. He just got another one out there with Tyrese. He had the thing with Cat Williams. He's on First Take, but he was at First Take talking to the big swagoo, Stephen A. Smith, some of those guys out there. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. He's been on UCSS. And I'm telling you, the national media is coming around. And, we heard all the lists before and all the lists of people saying the Browns ain't this and the Browns ain't that and they ain't about to beat nobody and they ain't never going to be nobody. I already told you, that's cool for the offseason. But when you start getting close to these games and we under 5 or so days until Sunday and we kick off live from Huntington Bank Stadium. We'll talk about that. We got to find a nickname. I don't care what they have them say. Huntington Bank Stadium. I don't know what that is. We're going to have to call it the Hunt or something. But when you talk about it, now when people see that Cleveland Browns roster and they start to actually come to the realization that the Browns are a damn good football team and they got guys like Myles Garrett and they got playmakers, all of a sudden, people starting to come around a little bit. This is courtesy of ESPN in the First Take. Shannon Sharpe, he got to get his boys together early.
Man, when you look at that Cleveland Browns roster, Swagoo, when you look at that roster from top to bottom, offensively and defensively. Now, remember, last year they finished number 1 in defense. This year, if Deshaun Watson, I'm not even saying he needs to be, now, if he goes back and be what he was his last year starting in Houston, well, it's over. With that defense and those weapons, with that offensive line, nah. So, as much as it is so hard to pick up against Patrick Mahomes because he is that guy. He's the one guy that you don't pick against because he's proving it time and time again. Even with last year when we thought he was like, this team, there isn't good enough offensively, too many drops, the offensive line doesn't do a great job, and what do? They take the show on the road. They don't need to be an Arrowhead, and they get to and they win the Super Bowl again. For me, when I look at the Cleveland Browns, if Deshaun Watson is either now or never, he's under immense pressure, that big contract, and as of yet, he has yet to live up to it because of injuries and obviously what happened off the field in Houston. But if they play, and if I just need Deshaun Watson to give me 85, 90% swag and Stephen A. of what he once was, I like the Cleveland Browns.
Listen, I done told you. Listen, don't look at the Duke of New Jerk over here. Don't look. The Kool-Aid Mafia is well and popping. Well and popping. And don't forget, coming up later on the show, I'm going to give you an opportunity to get some of that swag. We right back on the Kool-Aid Mafia. Later on the show, we're going to give you an opportunity to catch you some of that swag. So stay calm, stay steady, right? But let's get to this. When you look at it, Deshaun Watson, all of this talk of, people saying, oh, well, he got to do this. And the Browns, I got him with 8 wins and I got the Browns with 7 wins. When you start looking at it and you start coming down, you start coming to the realization and you start coming back down to earth and you start looking at the facts. You start looking at the nuts and bolts and the pieces and parts. And you start to say, well, listen, man, my man, how is it that I got him at 7 wins? When the receiving core is upgraded, right? When I got a Jerry Jeudy now, who is an upgrade. When I look like that guys is ready to go, Elijah Moore is slotted to where he's supposed to be at, and David Njoku's coming off his best year, right? And the great thing about the Cleveland Browns offensive line is, they had two or three tackles, right? We had 3 tackles, and we talked about who's going to play. But when you have injuries like you have with Jed Wills, we'll talk about that next segment. It is great that you have a guy like Jack Conklin who can slide in there and play that role. And I think the thing that people discounted so many times before, and they continue to discount this, but you got to always take this into consideration. The Cleveland Browns defense is in its second year under Jim Schwartz. Not the first. Guys are in their second year. So now when you look at it, now you can call stuff. Now you got different communication in the secondary. I believe and wholeheartedly believe that you're going to get more wrinkles out of them, right? And you may catch the Cleveland Browns early, right? Where their offense isn't hitting on all cylinders, but all offense is behind all defense. That's just the way that the nature of the beast is. You're attacking. But when you get an opportunity to see the Cleveland Browns and you're going to get a chance to see that defense, the thing you can count on is this. You can say, hey, defense, let's come out here and let's hold them a little bit. While we're ahead of the situation, while we're ahead of the sticks, while we're ahead and understanding that the offense may take a little bit of time to get used to, hey, let's go ahead and stop these boys. And when you got teams and you got three of the best corners, Greg Newsome will be back. Dalvin Tomlinson will be back. You look at JOK, and JOK is a guy who right now I think is going to have a breakout season for the Cleveland Browns and become an all-pro this year. You take a look at that, and he hit it right on the nail, right on the head. When you asking about Deshaun Watson, all you asking Deshaun Watson to do is give you a couple. If he plays 17 games, he's going to have the numbers. He has the supporting cast. We're not asking Deshaun Watson to come out here and carry a team. You don't need to carry him. They got everything that you need to have. They got everything that you need, all the requisite pieces and parts. And all you need to win these games in the first few games is this. All you need is an opportunity to say, you know what? Give me a play here. Give me a play there. Give me a play here. Give me a play here, Deshaun Watson. Let's see what we can do. And if you can get that from Deshaun Watson, you can move the sticks. You can make some plays. You're going to be a team that's going to get the most out of the Cleveland Browns. And you may be looking at a situation where, guess what? Cleveland Browns may very well be in the AFC Championship game. They very well may be in a situation where, guess what? You didn't need him to carry him. And Deshaun Watson has a number one receiver. And then at week 7, at week 8, guess what you're going to get? You're going to have an opportunity to get Nick Chubb back. That is a scary, scary proposition. Let me get to some of these comments. I know y'all been in the comment section. Let's pull up on me, man. Let's see what we got going on, man. Charlie Fry the GOAT. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's hype about the Unk said, let's go. Terrell Glenn. I'm super pumped about what he said, because now what we trying to get to is all that fluff stuff out there. You go and this happens a lot when you're in the off season. When you're in the off season, you talking about, a lot of different articles and topics and stuff. You need stuff that's going to push clicks. You need stuff that's going to create some I wouldn't say controversy, but some. You need something that's going to create some dialogue and discourse amongst the NFL fans. And a lot of times we doing these lists and stuff, you could do a perfectly great list, and that list is based in, whether or not a team is really good, or based in facts and it's really good. People ain't going to read that list. They'll be like, oh, my gosh, they have the Cleveland Browns being very good. They have the Kansas City Chiefs being good. Hey, the AFC North is the best conference. That's cool. Everybody know that. That's not going to get no clicks. But when you start to get to 3-4 days before the season, it's just like running your fantasy team. Everybody be talking about their fantasy team, and it'd be like, listen, I'm going to draft these rookies. I feel like this guy has upside. But when you get to it and Travis Kelce is still on the board, you like, listen, I'm going to take Kelce. Forget that. I got to go with facts. I like Neighbors. I like him. Heck, I love Marvin Harrison Jr., but I mean, Kelce on the board, though. That's the way it be working. So now, notice, these takes get real serious. All that silly season stuff, that go out the window. Everybody ready to go. It was actually on ESPN, and that clip was courtesy of ESPN First Take as well. Let's go. What's up, Marshall? What's up, Craig? We see you out there. Karen, always, man. Karen is on every platform. I appreciate you. She's been holding me down since like 2012, and I totally appreciate that, man. So we in here talking, man. Q is on OBR, Orange or Brown Report right now. Shout out to my man Quincy on Orange or Brown Report, man. All the people over there just breaking it down, doing their thing too. We're excited about what we got going on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Rob Cunningham, what's up, man? G. Bush, man, I hope Watson is driven. I have my doubts sometimes. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. When you at quarterback, it's very hard to outwardly show emotion like that. Sometimes when you playing, you want your quarterback to be indifferent looking because other people is always watching you. You don't ever want to have that sense of people look at you and they look at you and feel like you panicked all the time. And to be honest with you, be truthful. And I don't bring up Baker's name because, whatever. And I think Baker had a really good year, man. He had a dope year last year. Baker's personality is more fiery, right? But sometimes when you're fiery, like you attract a certain level of energy, right? You want your quarterback to be calm, cool, collected. Like he gonna come back. If you down 25, you want to have that same feeling, right? And so sometimes I really feel like it's a situation where Deshaun Watson, because he is a laid back guy, he's not a guy that just jumps and is a rah-rah guy and is just, saying certain things. I think it could be a gift and a curse because some people can take that as being indifferent instead of being a guy that is more cerebral, calculated, and more of a guy that's thinking the game out. And sometimes you want your quarterback to think the game out. I think and I'm gonna just be honest with you. You'll hear from Quincy Avery a little bit later in the show. I think that there's a lot of people that will be encouraged by what's going on with him right now. And I think right now he's going to be as motivated as he's been in a very, very long time. And let's see, we give him one more. Tony says, my gut, it says 8-9, but my heart says 12-5. They finally win their division and host a playoff game before they finally close the door on the factory of sadness, man. A lot of people got to 12-5 in here as well. Let's see. Mel L says, I was watching Cam and Mace and I had to pull up on G. Bush. Listen, I went live on y'all. I had to let y'all know I'm in the building right now. We ready to go, man. We got 260 people in here right now live getting ready for this game. Browns week all week. Cowboys is coming. And Cleveland, you are the epicenter of the sports world on Sunday. Understand that. Understand and get ready for that, and understand that we're going to embrace that. We're going to show up and we're going to show out. You got Tom Brady in here. You got America's team. I always contend that the Browns are America's team. Let me just keep it real. Like, we got people in Dublin, Ireland, Indonesia. We got people in South Africa repping Browns backers all across the country. But we do got the Browns coming to town. We about to show up and show out. So I'm excited. We ready to go. And don't forget, Ultimate Browns is now every Tuesday and Friday. So you get a little bit of a quicker gap. And guess what? That Friday show, we treat that here as the de facto pregame show. So if you want to know the latest when it comes to any of the injuries, you want to know latest or what's going on with the team, you want to know what the game plan should be, what the X factors are, what defense, offense, and plus we go behind enemy lines a little bit too for that game, because we don't talk about what the Cowboys do well. I think it's good that you got to prepare everybody for what those teams bring to the table. So if you are looking for a pregame show, make sure you tune in Fridays. Make sure you're getting that going, and we'll get you ready to go for Sunday coming up here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show Network, and especially on the Ultimate Browns.